All right, and welcome to the Prometheus Afterthoughts podcast, the podcast where we talk about our most recent boot in the game, and that today is Anna. Anna, how you doing?
Hi, Casey. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, no problem. It's unfortunate that you are here, but obviously we are here to talk about your experience in the game, what you thought about the edit, the podcast, just anything in general. But pretty much the floor is yours. So.
Yeah, well, I want to say how fun this game was. Like, I guess I was expecting that it was going to be different. Different how? I don't really know, but I was not expecting this and to have so much fun. Like, even though, anyone who's been watching or just saw me get booted, I like cried, which I'm slightly embarrassed about, but I was like, whatever, I was emotional about it. I did have so much fun. And the way you put it together with the challenges, like how we had tribe time and so much face to face, I think that really like was my biggest help in the game. That it wasn't so messenger based. And we had so much FaceTime, like that really, without that, I don't think I would have made it as far as I did. And I'm really happy with the game I played. And of course I have like regrets is too strong of a word, but changes, yes. And I like not have been taking notes all season, but I just watched the deep dive with Morgan and I was like, oh, I want to like say something about this or that. And like, so I guess first I'll just say that like, so this is a 2-day game, and overnight or like after end of day 1 into day 2, we were allowed to be on Messenger. There was messaging time. And that's when a lot of people talked, but it did like quiet down pretty quickly. But 2 people who I didn't talk to were Lauren and Caro. And I did not find out or find period their messages to me until literally like 3 weeks ago, and they were in my spam folder, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my game could have been so different. I thought both of them just like didn't want to work with me, didn't see me as someone that was valuable or something like to their game. So I thought they were being the bitches, as Carol was like, bitch ain't talking to me in one of the last episodes. And I was like, I wanted to. I thought you weren't talking to me. And so I was like, dang, that was a little technological snafu that really could have changed my whole thing around. But the people I did form relationships with, I was really happy to like learn in the edit that Colin and I were like super close, because in all my confessionals I'm like, I think Colin is my number one, and I'm glad that he was always like, yeah, I'm with Anna and I think we're gonna have like this person on our side. And I was always like, yes, okay, my like instincts were right, that I can trust him and everything else. And I totally get why he like voted with everybody to get me out, because you don't want to just be on the bottom again. That's just happened with Joe. So this does this thing, sorry, I don't know like how or why or when Zoom updated, and if you like put your hand up, it says you're about to raise your hand, and it just every time I'm like, no, I don't want to raise my hand, please don't do that, Zoom.
Oh, that does not happen with me. But does it have anything to do with your job? Because I know you are a teacher's assistant, right? No?
Yeah, but no,
No? Okay.
because I'm a preschool teacher, so we don't Zoom. But okay, Colin, spam folder. Oh yeah, I would have loved to be a part of a girls' alliance, but I wasn't, and that's okay. Oh, I thought a really funny but not so funny part of the latest episode was when it was me and Kyle and Carol in a room and we were just not talking. I was like, oh my gosh, I was silent for that long.
It was a lot longer, a lot longer.
Yeah, because I was just trying to message because I felt like I couldn't talk. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like so embarrassing that I just didn't even say anything. But I don't know. It was my first game. And I am, like I said, probably 5 minutes ago, I'm very happy with the game I played. And yeah. What was something else? I don't know. I feel like I'm talking so much.
No, you're fine. You've only been talking for a few minutes. David said the same
Okay.
thing. David was just after the podcast. David was like, I feel like I'm ranting. I feel like I'm ranting. I don't like ranting. I'm like, this is your time to speak on everything. But yeah, I mean,
guess so, yeah.
while you gather your thoughts or look over your notes, I will say though, with that like that 15 minutes time where you guys had before the temple, yeah, I mean the majority of it was silent. And I believe said it on the deep dive. It was kind of funny. It was almost like Caro was like babysitting you guys. Like
Yeah.
you never swapped rooms, and nor did Kyle. Caitlin and Caro did, but when they swapped rooms, it was brief. It was just like a couple minutes here. So like I was very curious, and if you could actually answer it, why didn't you ever swap rooms? Because you could have gone over to the other side, and I mean, shouldn't be too hung up on it, but it could have made a potential difference.
Right. So I think, and I would have to like look back at timestamps of messages and try to piece together like, you know, who I was messaging when. I think I was trying to get both Kara and Caitlin in the room with me and get Kyle to leave. But I was like, he's not going anywhere. This is terrible. What's going on? And so I don't know why I didn't want to jump ship. Maybe because Lauren was in that room and I don't know how to not say well, Lauren had immunity, so I wouldn't have been saying her name anyway. I don't know. Maybe I was banking on Colin to like be my voice in there. Like that doesn't really make sense because you can't rely on someone else to like be your voice. But I think that was probably what I was trying to do, was just trying to really get Caro and Caitlin and talk to them face to face, but it wasn't working out. And I was not even thinking about jumping around. And I also sometimes, okay, room limits were like so tricky because it's really talk when you like have to have 4 people or 3 people in a room, and you can't just go into like almost like a private room, or you're trying to talk to, you know, if the room limit was 3 but we had 4 people, it's like, okay, we're really just trying to like have a quick little meeting. But I understand why, because that just, you know, you have to adapt and improvise and still strategize and with these constraints. So like it makes for better drama. But I don't know why I didn't. And I'm sure, yeah, like what was another thing? Lauren, so I talked with Lauren last week. We like video chatted basically, and Caitlin popped in and Andrew popped in, but it was really just me and Lauren for the most of the time. And we were talking about it, and I there was something, I don't remember what, I might have already said it, probably just talking about the spam folder, and like, oh my gosh, that could have totally changed the game. Because anytime Lauren was like, she will not work with me, she was correct. I was like, Lauren is so intense. Too intense for me. And I thought it was funny when Morgan on the deep dive was like, she is playing like a more reserved game. I was like, oh my gosh, this is more reserved. I can't even imagine what unreserved is like. And I think, I don't know, I was just like really intimidated. And then I thought she purposefully didn't message me. So I was just like, there were lots of thoughts about Lauren that I was like, yeah, I'm not going to work with her. But like, I would have, and I could have, on the David vote, when they like ambushed me, and I really was like, I felt that they were so aggressive. Meanwhile, watching it back, I was like, they were pretty polite, but I just felt very under fire.
I mean, I will say in your defense, though, I mean, I 100% interpreted a lot of that kind of stuff as pretty aggressive. And it is aggressive. I mean, it's not like we're going to fucking kill you, you know, but like, It's pretty aggressive and under the time constraints, because I generally gave everyone 15 minutes. There was like one or two times where it was like 13 or 14 minutes just because we were trying to stay on schedule. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, your anxiety's going, you're trying to figure out like all like it. So yes, I mean, in kind of your defense, but also, I mean, it is a viable, game tactic, or game strategy.
Right. But like that vote, when it was David popped into the room, and Lauren was there, and they just were like, well, who are you voting for? Are you staying 5 strong? And I said that was the plan, which was the truth. But I said, well, if the role, like if things were flipped, who would you guys like, just say you had 6 people and like all 5 of us were still in, like who would you be gunning for? And they wouldn't give me a name. I would have heavily contemplated flipping and bringing Colin, or at least telling Colin, as long as it wasn't Colin. But like, if it was probably Kyle or Andrew, I would have been like, okay. I wasn't going to flip on Colin until like I had to, just like he had to flip on me. And then I really liked Joe a lot. And I voted with him, was blindsided with him on his vote. So like, I wasn't planning on flipping on Joe until a little bit later, but I was like, yeah, he'll have to go eventually.
So one thing with that though is so on the David vote, you're saying that you would have heavily considered, pulling Colin and then flipping on Kyle or Andrew. Now, at the beginning of that episode, you did say that you had gotten the chance to talk to Andrew, and you and Andrew started to build a, good bond, and you were afraid that he was becoming your number one. So even with that said, you would have still considered it?
I think so, because I feel like he was close. I'm like, if it was Kyle, I almost would have been like, yeah, sure, maybe. But I still wanted to stay 5 strong. I just would have considered it. And with Andrew, I would have been like, oh man, I think I would have been way more torn and been like, is it right to do this? We did just form like a stronger bond, but he is like, anytime I talked to Lauren, I thought she was telling me like, watch out for Andrew. So I was like, is he really like going to be a backstabber? Like, should I just take him out? Like, even though I felt close to him, it was something I would have considered, not something I would have done.
Yeah.
But I would have heavily considered it. And is this the right time? Should we just stay 5 strong? But we didn't stay 5 strong, because it came out in the end that Kyle voted Andrew, and Lauren and Carol voted David, and that, I don't want to say blew my mind, but
so I guess going off of that, there might have been a potential spoiler. That's why there's a gap in this. So we'll just kind of glance over that.
Yeah, we'll see how it actually was said.
Yeah. I think to be safe, I probably will just cut it. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, you played a great game. I was very sad to see you go. You were, I think, like the only person I actually came on camera for to talk to. But then again, we know each other outside of this game, so I felt a little bit more comfortable doing it. Not that I felt uncomfortable with anyone else. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved your game. I think you did play a really great game. I do love that you stuck to your guns and did not reveal the information to anyone. Whereas, as I said, no offense to Colin, but as I did say to, Colin, like, or said about Colin in the podcast, like he kind of, what did I say, fumbled a bit when he spilled everything to Lauren. But yeah, I mean, you were exactly right in your confessionals. Like, she was not in a place to really be demanding anything. So I think I would have done a similar thing. But if you maybe had the messenger chats with her, things could have potentially been different. But you know what? You kind of live and learn with these sort of things. And that's what second chances are for later down the line, or playing other games. As we do know, you did end up playing Caitlin's game right before or after the airing of the first episode, I think.
I think it was before. That was like August.
Yeah, we
the
aired
start of August.
Well, then, yeah, it was definitely before we aired the first episode. It was probably when we were doing the promos. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I
Well,
said, what's that?
I was like, well, I don't want to get into that game
Yeah,
because
that's a whole different story. But yeah, like I said, I think you really did a great job. But
thank
yeah,
you.
on that note, do you have any final thoughts? I know you did have notes in front of you. If there's anything else you wanted to tackle.
Yes. Oh, well, one thing in the deep dive, you and Morgan were talking about the questions of the challenge and how they weren't, I don't properly utilized.
Yeah. Sorry if it
Yeah.
seemed harsh. Sorry if it seemed harsh. I even said in
Oh,
the thing I might have been a little hyperbolic when I was talking about it, but
yeah. I don't think it was like super harsh, but there was talk, I guess, of Kyle flipping his vote before Joe. And I think that's why I asked him that question of who was the first vote you flipped for, and he lied. As we saw in the edit, he lied
yeah.
because he voted for Andrew. So that was like an unsuccessful attempt at a question, but
I
I
mean,
wanted to see if I could trust him.
understandable. To be honest, I never thought too much of that, but it would have been very interesting if he would have accidentally said that. That would have been crazy. But yes, okay. I mean, I could see that. Yeah, and I just like, I guess overall to clarify a little bit more, but on the deep dive, I did think things would have been a little bit more spicier. I feel like, I mean, like I said, I don't want to seem harsh. If I'm coming off that way, I sincerely apologize. But I think there could have been a lot of better questions. And I think the best question that was asked by Caitlin about the Caro thing, because it is potentially very exposing. Like, Caro,
Yeah,
people are perceiving you as the tag along, and then people are perceiving Caitlin as not playing. So,
right. And that Carol and Lauren are a duo, but Caitlin is like, not there, not, deflecting. I don't know, might not be the right word, but like she was not placing herself in that little group, which did have a solid like grasp on everybody.
yeah, despite them
Um,
being in the minority. So, but yeah,
right.
I mean, I think, like I said, I think that was probably the question that best utilized the game. But there were still some. I mean, there's still some good questions. All in all, I was very happy to see that challenge unfold.
Yeah. I think that challenge, or even the, oh goodness, what was the name? The Was it the Nemesis
Nemesis,
challenge?
Nemesis was the question one. The
This
one
was
that,
this one.
yeah.
Okay.
Feast for Dionysus was the merge challenge, which is also known as touchy subjects in Survivor.
Okay, yes. I think that one as well. I think that one ended up throwing us a little bit more for a loop. Like, my impression almost was that these answers were like nearly unanimous for like, oh, most annoying, Lauren. But it was like, well, no, only 3 people. That was the majority because everyone else just got like 1 vote. But I don't know why I thought it was like, unanimous for all of these answers of most strategic and like craziest emotional person or something.
Yeah,
Like, then I,
I'm
I I was like, oh, it was only 2 people who thought David was emotional or something.
yeah, I mean, that is the crazy thing. Like, some of those, the numbers were pretty low. I think, like, outright speaking, when I talked about the strategic one and I said there was a four-way tie, well, if you think about it, there was only 9 people in the game. If there's a four-way tie, each person's getting 2 votes. But even
Right.
so, I still think, even with those numbers, being like 3 here or 4 here, that's still telling, because then everyone else is split about who, and they could just be, honestly, if they're not being honest about the questionnaire, they're deflecting to hide someone. So there
Yeah.
still is a general perception out there.
Right. It's somewhat of a trend.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes. But I liked those kinds of challenges. I liked the aqueduct challenge, although it was a little bit difficult. The like, and you showed us a video like explaining it, and you did it in like less than 10 seconds, just like boom. And it was not easy. The stamina challenge was fine. Oh, that first video challenge was a doozy.
Oh, the scavenger hunt thing, or
uh-huh. That one was a little crazy, I feel like, with the amount of people we had, because it was like one of the first challenges. But overall, I mean, I thought it was a good mix of challenges as well. Like there was puzzles, there was holding up a 2-liter bottle, there was the little building an aqueduct and putting a ping pong ball in a cup, which I'm like, should I say? But obviously it got cut for the aqueduct challenge when you were like, okay, everyone has their cups, ping pong balls, pencils, and playing cards, and everyone went, hold on. What's the playing cards, Casey? What's going on with playing cards? You did not tell us for playing cards.
I still cannot believe that I did that. But yes, I mean, but that was a part of the whole explainer and like buffer area. So yes, it got cut. It did get cut. But yeah, I mean, I forgot to. But I actually, the thing is I had a backup challenge anyway. I had a couple different backup challenges. So the thing is if people for some reason didn't have playing cards, I had a backup challenge for that, which was something that I had seen in another game. So I didn't actually test it out, but I've seen it done before. And it would have been it would have been same things. It would have still been the solo cups and the ping pong balls, so it would have been fine.
Well, but it was, I'm really happy that you asked me to be a part of this like inaugural season. It was really fun. RJ, he kind of goes back and forth about whether or not he'll submit an application for next season, but I think he's like secretly wants to.
I hope he does.
So I'll try and push him in the direction of doing it, because it was fun. And it was, I guess also it was like, I don't know, I got emotional at the end of my time there, or at least my playing time there. And this group still talks, and like not like we're talking about deep stuff or anything, but like I want to meet, my fellow Prometheans, Olympians, Primordials, Titans. Like this was a good group of people. I'm really glad I got to play with them. I learned a lot from everybody who I spoke to in the game. Like everyone was just really cool. And so just, I don't know, I want to be like, congrats on putting together a great season. It's not even over yet, but this is a great first season.
Well,
and I'm really, really excited to see who wins. Cause like, guess what, people, we don't know who wins. We don't know. and it's killing me.
But yeah, we'll see soon enough. We only have a couple more episodes left. So, but yes, on that note, thank you, Anna, for coming on. Thank you for playing. I really, really appreciate it. You were awesome. And thank you for everyone who tuned in and listened. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And on that note, everyone, have a good night.